are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pigskin Mafia podcast. I am your host, TJ Riddell, on this special evening, Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. What a scene we have in the college football playoff. We have two good matchups, in my opinion. Two incredible powerhouses of programs in the 90s between Notre Dame and Penn State, playing in the infamous Orange Bowl. And on the flip side, where you have two of the most iconic names in college football, Ohio State, or the Ohio State, and the University of Texas, where you got the Final Four in the college football playoff, semifinals. Folks, I hope you're ready for this. This is going to be a deep dive at the college football playoff semifinals, where I will let you know who I have winning these two games, how I think these games are going to go. I'm going to break down the stats for the season and also including the playoffs. These two teams, or all four of these teams, deserved and earned their way to the college football playoff semifinals. Now, do I think that the seeding is flawed? Yeah, absolutely. But we're here now to discuss and predict and make our picks for these matchups. I'm excited for both games, especially for Friday night. I'm really intrigued to see how well Ohio State could play against Texas. What's up, Slushy? I'm actually drinking a slushy right now, or it's a Slurpee, but it's kind of like a slushy, I guess. I don't know. I don't care. But we're here to talk about two great matchups on tap. Thursday night, you got Penn State and Notre Dame, which the series is tied 9-9-1, meaning that there's one tie. And you got the other side where you got Texas and Ohio State, who, well, happy birthday, Jonathan. Thank you for loving our content here. Yeah, happy birthday, because you got a special one. College football playoff semifinals. Jonathan, right? You're 14 now. Who's your favorite team out of these 14 playoffs right now, or the semifinals? I just want to know that. So that way, or who do you think is going to be in the national championship, in your opinion, before I take a deep dive? Since it is your birthday, I'm going to let you make your prediction. What's your take on Texas and Ohio State? So you got the Longhorns winning against Ohio State, right? Or is that just winning it all? So, yeah, you got two good matchups in my opinion. Okay, winning it all. Okay, I like that. I am a Longhorn fan myself, but I can't give us too much credit because I got to be unbiased as possible. Okay? But here we are. The college football playoff semifinals. Orange Bowl and Cotton Bowl. Two legendary bowl games in my life, in my opinion, who have helped me love the game of college football. I didn't say football, I said college football. because of the traditions behind these bowl games. The bowl games that we watch every year, and then you get to the New Year's Six bowl games, and then beyond that, where you have, what's up, Dollar Baby? What's up? Where you have some of the most incredible matchups, incredible games that happen, and I feel like this semifinals is going to be electric in all aspects. I'm telling you, it's going to bring up so much. It's probably going to be as good as WWE Raw on Netflix. That's how good it's going to be. But let's go ahead and take a deep dive at it. The first game we're going to take a deep dive at is a game that will be played in Miami, Florida, in the Orange Bowl. It is going to be between the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who are the only one-loss team in the semifinal with the best record, 13-1. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, led by Marcus Freeman, who has done a terrific job over there at Notre Dame, where everybody thought he was going to fall down. Yes, Harvard does have a football team. Where Notre Dame was supposed to have this setback after Brian Kelly left. Marcus Freeman has proven time and time again that, well, A, he knows how to coach, B, that Notre Dame is still going to be sticking around. And let me tell you guys, I am super thrilled that we get to see this Notre Dame team play. I thought they didn't show up against NIU. And I just think it was a bad game for them. But it happens to these teams, you know. And I'm really excited about watching Notre Dame in this matchup, especially against a team like Penn State, led by James Franklin, who has had a history of losing big games, which I'm going to say this right now. Penn State had the easiest road to get here. Okay? Penn State did have the easiest road to get here, but, big but, they competed against Ohio State. They competed against Oregon. It's going to be one of those type of games. I think it's going to be run heavy. It's going to be crazy. You're probably going to see Riley Leonard run more times than probably Jeremiah Love, because Jeremiah Love has been kind of had nagging injuries over the last couple of weeks. And you might see that solid backup in for Notre Dame this week, which might come back and bite Notre Dame for a little bit, especially with the way Penn State's been playing defense. I like Penn State as well, but they still haven't won the big game, meaning a meaningful Power 4 matchup or a meaningful big-time matchup like this. So it's going to be interesting how both Coach Freeman or James Franklin deal with this. Now, let's look at the tail of the tape. Let's go ahead and look at the last 5 games that both teams have played. So we're going to take a look at the first matchups that they had, where Notre Dame faced off against Virginia, which, let's be real, Virginia's really not that great. 35-14, they beat them, right? And then Penn State traveled to face Minnesota. They barely beat them 26-25, but Minnesota's a rough and tough team, Big Ten. Then you got Notre Dame against Army. They beat the holy hell out of Army, who had an impressive season, in my opinion. 49-14, whereas Penn State dominated Maryland 44-7. The Notre Dame traveled to USC, who had a 6-6 record, but ended up beating an 8-4 Texas A&M team. They beat USC 49-35, whereas in the Big Ten championship game, Penn State lost to Oregon 45-37, which I thought was a back and forth matchup, in my opinion. Oregon kind of exposed Penn State's defense a little bit, which I think could help Notre Dame in the sense. But let's take a look at the playoff matchups, which everybody in this semifinal started out in the first round at home. So Indiana traveled over to Notre Dame. Notre Dame ended up beating them 27-17. And then Penn State ended up playing SMU on that Saturday morning. 38-10, Penn State beat the holy hell out of Kevin Jennings and SMU. Then we get to the quarterfinals where Notre Dame has an impressive win after a horrific tragedy, which ESPN, y'all are fucked up for not even trying to show, for not even trying to recognize the people that had that tragedy or that tragic incident in New Orleans. But back to the game that they played. They dominated and bullied Georgia 23-10. I caught wind of the second half, and I was just mind blown how well Notre Dame handled Georgia. Now you could say, well, Carson Beck wasn't in. Bradley, you're gone. Bye. I'm gonna say just that. Goodbye, Bradley, you fucking idiot. Anyway, so Notre Dame ended up bullying Georgia 23-10. Now, this is where I kind of like have this deal with Penn State where they're just like, they're good, but I don't know if they're quite there yet. Boise State. Now, we all want to say that Boise State was great with Ashton Jeanty. Great. That's good and all. They did a good job facing Ashton Jeanty. But they could not stop the pass on some plays. And they allowed big plays to happen. But they ended up winning 31-14. It was actually 17-14 in the third quarter, and then Penn State ended up running away with it. Then comparing both quarterbacks, you got Riley Leonard, who's got a 66.5% passing rating, and Drew Allar at a 67.4% rating. With what's going on, JB Productions? You doing all right? Who do you have winning in these two matchups between the Orange Bowl and the Cotton Bowl? Which I'm talking about the Orange Bowl right now, which is Notre Dame and Penn State. So yeah, back to the quarter. So you got Ohio State and Notre Dame, just like everybody else. Awesome. So back to the quarterback comparisons here between Penn State and Notre Dame. Riley Leonard, he's thrown for 2,383 yards total this season, whereas Drew Allar threw for 3,192 passing yards. Now, they're kind of similar as far as like the percentage of throws that they make, but I think Drew Allar throws prettier balls in these types of matchups. Whereas he's got a major target, which I'll talk about him here in a little bit. Riley Leonard, 18 for 6, 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. And then you have Drew Allar, who's thrown 24 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Again, similar stats, similar type of quarterback. What Drew Allar beats Riley Leonard in is the passing yardage. But there's a reason behind that. That's a fair point, JB. That is a very fair point. And I love that take, what you just said. So, especially the second sentence that you just said. The difference between Riley Leonard and Drew Allar is that Riley Leonard mostly runs the ball. Well, I don't want to say mostly runs the ball, but he gets a lot of carries compared to Drew Allar. We'll just say that. But the question mark is this back going to play for Notre Dame? Jeremiah Love, I haven't heard anything about his injury or if he's even going to play. He has 148 carries, 1,076 yards, 16 touchdowns. Averages 7.3 yards per carry. That is fucking unbelievable if you think about it. That is insane numbers. And then on the other side, Kaytron Allen, who I love to watch for Penn State, he carries 201. He has 201 carries, 1,026 yards, 8 touchdowns, and averages 5.1 yards every carry, which to me, if you average 5 or more carries, or even 4.5 or more, I think you're good. You're a good back. I think so, because the more I feel like if you could carry more than 4 yards a pop, shit, you'll be just fine in the NFL or anywhere in that matter. But I like Jeremiah Love in this game. But if he's not in this game, I think Notre Dame's in trouble. So my prediction went off of that. So now we get to the receiving yards. You got Collins for Notre Dame, who's the leading receiver with 37 receptions, 458 yards, 3 touchdowns, averages 12.4 yards per catch. That's not bad for a guy that's under 500 receiving yards. And then you got the big tight end, Tyler Warren, who I love this guy. I love watching him play. Big 44, playing for Penn State. 98 receptions, 1,158 yards receiving, 8 touchdowns, averages almost 12 yards a catch. And he is a red zone threat, folks. If you don't think Warren's going to be a factor in this game, then you are out of your fucking mind. He is definitely a... Oh, you got Penn State now, so it's Ohio State and Penn State, all Big Ten national championship. Okay. But in all seriousness, I really love this matchup because it's really going to come down to whose defense is better, in my opinion, and whose trench work is better. Now, you got the speedy Penn State defensive linemen, edge rushers, who could cause havoc in this game. Meanwhile, you got the beefy Notre Dame offensive linemen who are well-disciplined, who can block really well in the run game. I think Notre Dame's going to try to do the same approach as they did to Georgia and Indiana, and they are going to try to impose their will against that defensive line. And yeah, they do have a solid secondary, especially the way they played against SMU. Jesus Christ. I love Penn State. I really do. I like James Franklin as a coach, but the question is, in these type of games, can James Franklin win these types of games? That has been the ultimate question on everybody's minds about this Penn State team. Now, everybody's saying that Penn State doesn't belong. They didn't deserve it. They had the easiest road. I get it. Playing SMU and Boise State is probably walking the yellow brick, or not walking the yellow brick road, but the walking through Candyland in this college football playoff. Whereas Ohio State played against Tennessee, Oregon, Texas played Clemson and stymie and stingy Arizona State team. Notre Dame played a decent Indiana and a Georgia team that we thought was going to be resurging into the playoff, but looked like a shell of them former selves, really. So, I don't know. This series right here is a 19-game series, but dead even. 9-9-1. Penn State last won this game 31-10. I'll read that here in a minute, JB. I'm sorry. The last game was in 2007, September the 8th. Penn State won 31-10. And the last Notre Dame win was the year before, where Notre Dame ended up winning 41-17 on September 9th, 2006. That was back when Charlie Weiss and Joe Paterno were coaching back then. And no, it's all good, bro. I'm just excited. I'm just as excited as you are, man. Trust me. I can't wait to talk about that game. But this game right here, to me, is going to show how good these defenses really are, especially when they get gassed out. Because both Notre Dame and Penn State, to me, they are run-first type of offenses. Now, Drew Allar throws more passes, sure, but excuse me. I genuinely think that it's going to come down to the trench work. And I think Notre Dame is going to try to impose their will. And they have a good, solid backup at running back. I'm going to pick Notre Dame to win this game because although I think that Penn State's offense could score, and you got Tyler Warren and Nick Singleton and also that underrated receiving core, I just don't know if Penn State's offense can actually score more than 17 points against this defense. This defense held a Georgia team to 10 points. They held a Indiana team to 17. And Notre Dame's offense really controls the pace of the game. They just run, pass, run on each drive. And I love that type of football. They are old school, blue collar type of football. It's giving Detroit Lions vibes right now. Minus the kneecap eating part, which, yeah, it wasn't nice for me because I wanted Georgia in the national championship for Texas to redeem that loss. But anyways, I do have Notre Dame winning 24-17. I think Penn State's going to start off fast, but I think Notre Dame is going to impose their will as the game goes on. It's probably going to be like a 17-10 type of halftime, and then you'll see each team score one more touchdown, and Penn State can't score on the last drive of the game, and Notre Dame kills the clock. So I'm going to go with the Gold Helmets. They've looked really impressive over the last couple weeks. They've looked really good. I'm just excited about it. I really am. Like, both of these games were coin tosses for me. Honestly, like, just thinking about how these two teams could figure out a way to beat each other is hard. It's hard because they're similar in some ways. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Marcus Freeman. I think he's really proven how good of a coach he really is. So give me the Fighting Irish. As much as I hate to say that come out of my mouth, give me the Fighting Irish. So next game, and the final game we're going to talk about, is a game that will be played on Friday night. I was really excited when I saw this matchup. Like, think about it. The history behind Ohio State, Eddie George, Jim Tressel, A.J. Hawk. And then on the flip side, Texas, Darrell K. Royal, Mac Brown, Vince Young, Ricky Williams, Earl Campbell, Cedric Benson, rest in peace. It's going to be one of those type of games that everybody's going to put their eyes on, like this. That is going to be our CM Punk, Seth Rollins type of game, where everybody is locked in, focused. It's giving me Stone Cold and The Rock vibes with these two teams. Ohio State, Texas have only played each other 3 times in their illustrious programs' histories. Texas leads the series 2-1. One in Columbus. Ohio State won in Austin. And then Texas ended up winning the Fiesta Bowl back in 2009. The last time those two teams have ever faced each other was January 5th, 2009. 2 days ago, 16 years ago. The last time these two teams met up and had a war against each other. Colt McCoy threw a beautiful pass to Quan Cosby. Quan Cosby ran it in for a touchdown in the last few seconds of the game. I'm telling you, this has the making of an instant classic. 2 of the most badass rosters in college football. Now, they've looked shaky at times. I'll be honest. The most profitable rosters in college football today: Ohio State, Texas. 2 of the most profitable rosters in college football today. Think about that. I'm going to repeat it like this. The 2 most profitable teams in college football. Why? Because of the names. Because of the accolades that go behind the names of those illustrious programs. Will Howard, Quinn Ewers, this could be a hell of a matchup, I think. Now, I will say this. I haven't been impressed with Will Howard, but he's really lit it up in the playoffs. Quinn Ewers, he's trying to prove the doubters wrong. The critics wrong. And as I stated before, he would have been the best QB in both this past year's draft and this year's draft. He is the most NFL-ready quarterback in college football. I don't see anybody else making audibles the way he does. You could look at every pass if you want to and say he throws an ugly spiral. Which he doesn't. He's a damn good ball spinner. Now, looking at both of them, it looks like Will Howard dominates Quinn Ewers by 6% in the passing percentage. But here's my question to you Ohio State fans. What happens when Will Howard actually faces a good defense? He gets rattled. He's 0-4 against Texas. Texas always finds a way to get him rattled for some weird reason. Kansas State transfer always got rattled. Now I understand he didn't have the receivers like he does now. It takes two to tango. I get it. But I'm just going to say this. This is going to be a hell of a game, in my opinion. I think Ohio State's going to try to be run heavy in this matchup to open up the pass. I genuinely think so. And just like what JB Production says right here, he says he doesn't think that for the Ohio State and Texas game, Texas will be able to stop Jeremiah Smith, which could be possible. Jeremiah Smith has proven that he can outbeat those secondaries. But then again, you got the Jim Thorpe winner in Jahdae Barron, who has locked down some of the best receivers in the country, whether it be last year, the year before, this year. I mean, you name it. And then just an underrated corner, in my opinion, Malik Muhammad, who is just like Jahdae Barron on that side. And then Michael Taft, the former walk-on, who made a name for himself for the University of Texas. And then you have Andrew Makuba, who is a fucking ball hawk. I love Andrew Makuba, and I was super ecstatic when I saw him come through the transfer portal and go to Texas. Now, it's going to be challenging for Texas to try to stop Egbuka and Jeremiah Smith and other factors like Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson. And it's tough. It was really tough for me to pick this matchup. Like Travion Henderson, I am just impressed with this guy. 126 carries, almost 1,000 yards. He's this close. He just needs 75 yards. I think he can do it. If Cam Scatterbo did what he did in the fourth quarter, J-Mo is still on vacation. He'll be back during the national championship broadcast. It's just going to be me until the national championship week, which will be in about a week or some change. I don't know. It'll be the week before the national championship game. So, he averages 7.3 yards average, and he has 10 touchdowns. I love watching this guy play. Like, when I saw Quinshon Judkins go to Ohio State, I said, uh-oh. Ohio State might be that team this year. Well, here they are in the Final Four. Even after a loss to a Michigan team that lost to a Michigan team that got obliterated by Texas, it's still impressive how Ohio State really came together. He got a finger injury? Or he has a finger injury. I didn't even hear about that. That's crazy. I didn't even know that. Well, I hope he's at 100%, honestly. If he is, that's going to be trouble for Ohio State's pass game, especially with the defense that has the most takeaways in college football right now. Now, let's talk about the flip side. On the offensive side for us, first of all, let's talk about the two main receivers here. Jeremiah Smith. And I'm talking about one for each team right now. Jeremiah Smith, 70 receptions, 1,224 receiving yards, 14 touchdowns, averages almost 20 yards with 17 and a half. That's terrifying to think about. He finds ways to get open. He's quick. He's agile. He very, very talented receiver. He might be the best receiver in college football. If not, he is. But like I said, we got a damn good secondary too. So Ohio State's offense hasn't really played against a defense quite like Texas. And every time Ohio State faces a good defense, they kind of struggle. I don't know if y'all noticed that. They didn't really play a good Tennessee defense. They didn't really play a good Oregon defense in the playoffs. They did play a good Michigan defense and only scored 10 points. So that's where my confusion is at Ohio State. Now, Texas, offensively, they need to capitalize and execute in order to win this game on offense. They need to capitalize and execute. What I mean is finish off the goddamn drive with 6 points on the board. Okay? And don't get sacked. Don't let Bert Auburn fucking kick another goddamn field goal. Have him do PATs. I don't give a fuck. Go for it on 4th down if you have to. Or have Quinn do a fucking quick punt. Like, for God's sakes, I really don't want to see Bert Auburn back out there unless it's for PAT. Matthew Golden has really been a beacon for this offense, though. He's really made himself prevalent to this offense and really made himself out there. And last week against Arizona State was some of the most incredible stuff I've seen between a quarterback and receiver dynamic. And Quinn Ewers being able to audible that 4th down play where he was able to get max protection and be able to throw that post route right there against that Arizona State defense. I mean, that was right on the money. And fans to this day, and I'm going after the Texas fans right here, my own fan base. Stop with the bullshit about Quinn being bad. He got you to this point. Shut up. Stop with the Quinn Ewers is bad rhetoric. I'm telling you right now, stop it. And this is a Texas fan talking to you other Texas fans. You t-shirt wearing Texas fans out there. Not the real ones like me that actually give a damn and will defend our quarterback. Now that the fan out of me is done, let me go back to the analyst side of TJ Riddell. Matthew Golden's really been a beacon for the Texas offense. 56 receptions, almost 1,000 yards. He is very close. He is at 64 yards before he gets to 1,000. And he's got 9 touchdowns and averages almost 17 yards. I love Matthew Golden. He is awesome. Where Isaiah Bond's been out and out, or down and out, Matthew Golden has really came into his own. He's really stepped up. and he's really paved the way to becoming a Longhorn legend. Let's take a look at the last 5 games real quick for both teams. Now, both teams lost their third game on their schedules here. Let's go ahead and start off with the we're going to start off with the Northwestern win for Ohio State. They won 31-7. I really wasn't that impressed by that win. Neither was I impressed with this win. Texas winning 31-14 against Kentucky. Then Ohio State had a good win over a playoff team, Indiana, 38-15. Whereas Texas won a game that determined who was going to be in the SEC championship, where we beat the Aggies 17-7. Which that was a fun game to watch, honestly, as a Longhorn fan, waiting all these years to rag on A&M. But they're an afterthought, like I always say. But these 2 games stick out to me the most. Michigan beating Ohio State 13-10 in Ohio State. Without a quarterback either. It showed that Ohio State doesn't do well against really good defenses. And on the flip side with Texas, 22-19, where Texas was leading in the first half, but didn't really score touchdowns. Georgia ended up winning in overtime 22-19. It was just a culmination of things gone wrong on offense, and the defense got tired. Story of our fucking season. Ohio State ended up blowing the doors out against Tennessee, 41-17. Absolute dominant matchup, or absolute dominating win for Ohio State. And then Texas beat Clemson 38-24. Controlled the pace of the game. Wasn't really that dominant. Cade Klubnik had a hell of a game. I thought he was the best quarterback that Texas faced all year. And absolutely sliced us. But I swear to God, Texas is the best red zone defense in the country, in my opinion. I genuinely think that. And then the quarterfinals, Oregon, Ohio State. Ohio State dominated this game, 41-21. It looked like Dylan Gabriel didn't want to be there. Oregon didn't want to be there. But Ohio State wanted to win that game. So it was a good win for Ohio State. And then this game started out to be a blowout, and then Arizona State came back. Because why? Because the offense, again, cannot execute or capitalize on drives to kill their composure, to smother their dreams, to crush their hopes. It just doesn't work out like that for us, apparently. And we like to play close games, and we like to play with our food. Arizona State, we beat them 39-31 in a awesome overtime matchup. Cam Scatterbo came back after puking and vomiting and all that, and just completely dominated the fourth quarter, even though Texas did hold him in check for 3 quarters, or 2.5 quarters, I should say. Our offense wasn't out there a whole portion of the game. Our defense was out there for about a good 85% of the game. So, again, series record 2-1. Texas leads the series. Last game was played in the Fiesta Bowl in 2009. Last Ohio State win, and the only win for Ohio State, was back in 2006, September 9th. Pardon me. 24-7 in Austin. Now, the cool thing about this is that both teams get to play each other again this year in 2025 in week 1 of college football, which that's probably going to be a college game day type of game. We'll have the fives of Troy Smith and Vince Young again. I really like this matchup. This is probably my game of the week right here. This, as far as like any football, this has to be my game of the week right here. Texas, Ohio State. It's a battle of blue bloods. It is where rubber meets the road. It's two titans going at it. It is two gladiators and two boxers beating the hell out of each other. This game really made me think and made me really question my Longhorns. What's up, JB? For the first time this season, it made me question my Longhorns if they were going to be able to win this game. But then I started thinking, when Ohio State faces good defenses, what usually happens? Under a Ryan Day-led Ohio State Buckeyes team, what usually happens? They end up falling short. Sark is kind of on that same boat too. Did it last year with Washington, with Kalen DeBoer on the other side. Now, it's going to come down to who has the better composure, Will Howard or Quinn Ewers. I'm going to say Quinn Ewers has a better composure in this game, and I think he locks in. I think he is strapped up. He's ready to go. I'm not saying that Will Howard won't make big plays, but I think Texas defense gives enough pressure. They disguise blitzes so well with PK, our defensive coordinator. Ohio State's a great football team. They really are. But I'm going to have to go with Texas in this one, 34-31. I think this game right here is going to be a classic. It's probably going to be up there at number 2 or 3 in best college football playoff games of all time. I think that it's going to be back and forth. Both heavyweight fighters slugging it out. It's going to be a WrestleMania moment type of match or game. What's up, Caleb Hall? Doing all right? It is going to be a fantastic week of football, folks. As I stated, I have Notre Dame beating Penn State 24-17. I have Texas winning 34-31. Now, let's talk about hypotheticals since I'm doing pretty well. I'm doing well. Let's talk about hypotheticals real quick before we get out of here. It's right at the 49-minute mark. So what if Texas and Notre Dame end up winning, right? That's going to set up the matchup of 2016 where Notre Dame lost to Texas in Austin. Remember Joe Tessitore saying Texas is back? It comes full circle that way, right? Notre Dame fans, don't forget. Catholics do not forget. And then, say if Ohio State beats Texas, meets up with Notre Dame, can Marcus Freeman beat a team like Ohio State? Maximized roster, maximized everything. Only thing that I don't see is like a good thing for Ohio State is the quarterback position and the head coaching position. I think Ryan Day is pressured to lose his job to Chip Kelly. But say if Notre Dame and Ohio State face each other off in the national championship, you would have another classic right there. Now, what if we get Texas versus Penn State? I think that would be a complete mismatch right there. Penn State, Ohio State, it would probably result the same as the regular season, honestly. So to me, you're looking at Penn State being the weakest team, but you shouldn't count them out because they look like the weakest team because they played against weaker opponents. I would be very careful about that for everybody that thinks that way. Although I have Penn State as the lowest ranked team in this matchup or in these Final Fours, they are still a dangerous fucking football team. Every team that is playing in the semifinal is dangerous in their own way. And I fucking love it. I love what I'm seeing out of the semifinal. The 4 teams that hosted the college football playoff in the first round, then beat the top 4 seeds, who were all conference champions, by the way. Texas beat 2 of them. Ohio State beat the Big Ten champion, who beat Penn State. Penn State beat the Mountain West Conference champion. And then Notre Dame finally beats an SEC team that is worthy of being beat. The storylines are out there. Can Marcus Freeman lead the Fighting Irish back to glory? Can Penn State get back to the Joe Paterno winning ways? Is Quinn Ewers going to be able to beat his former team to get to glory? Is Ryan Day the guy to lead Ohio State back since Urban Meyer? We're looking at some of the best football on here. And contrary to most people's beliefs, I think this is probably the best matchups that we will see in the playoff. Stephen A. Smith, he could say, oh, Ohio State's going to roll Texas. No, they're not. No, they're not. It's going to be a heavyweight battle, Stephen A. Smith. Keep your mind in basketball, please, sir. We're going to see some good quality matchups here. I'm excited. You should be excited. I know for damn sure J-Mo's excited about these matchups. I think he's pretty high on Penn State also. But he's also high on Texas. I think he's got Penn State and Texas, in my opinion. I would have to check back on him. I haven't been able to talk to him lately or the last day or two because we've been kind of busy. He's busy as far as family. I'm busy as far as outside of Pigskin Mafia podcast shit. Now, we got 5 minutes to kill. I got some fans still here, still talking about college football. How do y'all feel about these college football playoffs, first of all? Because I think we've had one good, exciting game, and then we've had several double-digit wins. I mean, it hasn't been the prettiest, but I think they will improve it to make it better. But the thing is, I don't want them to expand anymore. They just need to reevaluate the seedings and they need to reevaluate where the conference champions should be placed this time. Not in the fucking not a bye week. And why is Clemson a road team when they won a conference championship? I do think, however, conference championships, or next year, this is how I would set it up. The 4 best teams, right? It doesn't matter if you're a conference champion or not. Say if 2 of them are conference champions, right? Say they're the 2nd and 3rd seed, right? Or 1st and 3rd seed, right? And then the other 3 are sitting outside of the top 4. Well, those 3 get to host, in my opinion. I think if, say, Boise State, Clemson, and can't really think. Arizona State. I think those 3 should have hosted the first round, and here's how I would have done it. 1, Oregon, 2, Georgia, 3, Texas, 4, Ohio State, or no, Notre Dame. 5 would have been, 5 would have been Boise. 6 would have been, 6 would have been Arizona State. 7 would have been Clemson. And whoever else was a higher ranking or record, in my opinion, should have gotten that. And I honestly think Ole Miss should have been in the playoff over Indiana. I just think they're a better overall team, and I think they would have made the playoffs a little bit more interesting than what they were. But tune in tomorrow as I will be talking about the NFL wildcards for you guys. It's been a blast this past college football season. 2025 is here. The college football playoff semifinals is here. And I'm thinking about doing a watch party. Like kind of just sitting there watching the game as I live stream on TikTok. So I'm going to go ahead and type up my TikTok for you guys. I think. I think I can type it right. I should start doing a Q&A and do a poll. That's what I need to do. I don't even know how to type on here. Jesus. It just has chat filters or whatever. But anyway, I'm gonna have a watch party on TikTok where I'm just sitting there watching college football, talking to you fine ladies and gentlemen that do end up watching this video either live or post live. I do get views post live. I'd much rather have people watch it live, but no, I will have it on TikTok. You can check me out at TJRid10_PMP live on TikTok Thursday, as I will be watching the Clemson and well, I don't know if that'll work, honestly, because of my scheduling. So we could do it Friday. We'll do it Friday for the Texas and Ohio State game. I'll watch it live here, and you'll get to see my emotions and reactions and what I say. It'll be raw energy. I'm telling y'all right now, y'all might see the fucking phone fly off the goddamn pot or tripod. Who knows? I mean, I get fucking angry watching my Longhorns play, but tune in tomorrow for the college, or I'm sorry, for the NFL wild card, tomorrow night, I'll give you a date, or I'll give you a time tomorrow. I'll post it on the Pigskin Mafia podcast page on YouTube. I will post the time, and I will let you guys know when I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to talk my shit about the NFL and all of that, because I'm ready for the college football playoff semifinals anyway. So tune in tomorrow. I don't know what time yet. I haven't decided yet. I never decide on time. So tune in tomorrow, NFL wild card, where I'm going to be talking about the AFC side and NFC side. For my beautiful crowd watching tonight, I want to thank you for watching. We are the best podcast under 100 subscribers. Oh, and if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. Please. Leave a like. Share this to your mom. Share this to your sister. Share this to your girlfriend. Share this to your grandmother. Share this to the hooker across the street. Because this is a damn good show. It is a damn good show. Wait until J-Mo gets back. We have better graphics and better quality. Because we're that damn good. I'm telling you guys that. Goodbye. Mwah, and good night. Bang. Toodaloo, motherfuckers.